In this session, let us understand where to actually apply the web performance optimization techniques for better web performance of the websites. Do we really apply the optimization techniques at the server side, or at the client side, or at the network level, or a combination of any of these three? So, web performance optimization, user metrics, context, dynamism, and JavaScript APIs. So, the two common user metrics that are to be really considered for the performance of the website or the first meaningful paint, which should be between or within 1 to 3 seconds, and the first dynamism, which should be within 2 to 4 seconds. Now, the first meaningful paint means we should show something useful and meaningful to the users within 1 to 3 seconds. And the first dynamism is, of course, the first interactivity on the website or the application, and that should be within 2 to 4 seconds. Now, a typical workflow for web performance actually starts by building the website or the application, followed by measuring the required performance metrics and then applying them and repeating the process so that the website performance or the performance of the website is improved. So once we are done with this, we go ahead and deploy the site or the application and the user starts using it. Right. So what is the problem with this? Now this is, sorry, now what is the problem with this approach? Now this is optimization at the server level. And in fact, studies show that server-side resources actually accounts for only 16% of the page load time. And some of the optimizations that we can do at the server level are increasing the memory, increasing the CPU, the cache, bandwidth, load balancers, proxies, and putting multiple servers for scalability, etc. At the database level, database query, optimizations, etc. Right? So these techniques are really very time consuming, they are expensive, and most importantly, there is no much improvement even after applying all these server side improvements. In fact, statistics show that as a general rule, 35% of server side improvement only gives us around 8% of website performance improvement. So this is generally speaking, but there might be some kind of exceptions wherein the performance improvement is really much more when we do the server side optimization. But as a general rule, it is very, very less. So why is this so? This is because we are not actually kind of doing the real performance testing, and the real performance testing is testing at the client side or at the front end. That is because, see, the users using the website or the application might be in different kinds of devices on different networking conditions. They might be in a Wi-Fi, they might be on a very slow connection, 2G, 3G. All right. So we actually need to test on these devices, on these networking conditions, so that the performance improvements of the website is really improved. All right. So after deploying and after the user uses the application, we need to test for these sites at this client side perspective or at the front end perspective. So we test the required performance metrics again, and then based on certain decisions and apply certain decisions on these different devices and the networking options. And once we decide on the particular performance metrics, we then go ahead and apply these performance metrics and then deploy it, and then we really get the benefit of our website with respect to the performance. So that is client side performance testing. And unlike server side performance testing, client side performance testing is really not expensive and time consuming. We just write lines of code, we test, we compare, we apply, and then deploy. And also there is much more performance improvement than at the server side. In fact, studies say that as a general rule, 35% of improvement at the client side results in 30% of website performance improvements. Also, typically, performance at the network level are also considered to be a part of client side or front end performance optimization techniques. And in fact, studies show that the client side resources actually kind of account for approximately 84 percentage of the page load time when compared to 16 percentage of the page load time at the server side. So thus guys, it is very important that as a general rule, we do performance testing at the client side or at the front end so that we actually test for the real web performance with respect to the different contexts. And we can achieve this using different JavaScript APIs and test it at the client end. Alright, thank you.